The casting conversation started coming up regarding McMurphy. And as I remember, I think we went first to Gene Hackman, who passed. Went to Marlon Brando, who passed. And going back now I think it was about a year before, Hal Ashby at one time had mentioned Jack Nicholson. Now you have to remember, Jack had done 5 Easy Pieces, Easy Rider, but his persona was sort of the sensitive young man or the intellectual that was a badass, you know. It wasn't R.P. McMurphy. But Hal had just started to do a picture called The Last Detail, and he said, you gotta take a look at this. That was the first picture where you really felt the size of Jack.
You're gonna pull that henhouse shit now. When the vote the chief just voted, it was 10-9. Now I want that television set turned on right now.
Milos was very consumed with Burt Reynolds. Milos loved Burt Reynolds. And I remember him going off, he was doing Smokey and the Mess, and I said, I kind of know what you mean, but what is it? He said, yeah. He has cheap charisma. Cheap charisma. It is perfect for McMurphy.
No, Jack was really always my first choice. But, you know, when we were ready, we found out that he has commitment to make another movie. So if we want Jack, we have to wait 6 months or 7 months, you know. Then I started to think about other, you know, actors eventually, and I must tell it, you know, to the credit of Saul and Michael, you know, when I came back to them and said, listen, I would rather wait. They said, okay, we'll wait.
They've gone through this, they've rehearsed, and they're taking handcuffs off him. And the very moment that it's on film, he jumps and kisses the other guy. And this is a complete surprise to this man. But Jack did that all the time.
R.P. McMurphy.
It's a hell of a fish there, Doc.
Milos had the idea that Dean Brooks, Dr. Brooks, could actually play the part in the movie.
You get that little red beaver right up there in front of you. I don't think it's crazy at all, and I don't think you do either.
I hear what you're saying.
The initial interview was set up with 2 cameras. We were allowed to just play against each other. So we ad-libbed. But Jack is always doing something to keep you off base. And that was an imaginary fly, and he reaches over and slaps a fly, and I sort of do a double take, but that wasn't in the script.
I knew Jack socially before, and I never knew if that man is crazy or sane. In real life, that's McMurphy.
Let's have a little ball from you nuts in here.
Jack is not only a great actor, he's also a smart actor, because he knows that better the people around him will be, he will be better. He was McMurphy even behind the camera. For all the guys, all the goons, all the loonies, you know, they were his guys, you know. And he, you know, it's a pretty intense kind of, you know, psychological state you have to be in.
What are you doing on this boat?
We're going fishing.
They gave me a part in there as the harbor
Not
master.
on this boat. You're not going fishing on this boat.
Oh, yeah, on this boat. Ask Captain Block.
Milos said he's going to try to take your boat. You don't want him to take the boat, so you just ad-lib. But an hour before we shot, Jack Nicholson would walk by me and he'd say, I'm taking your damn boat and there's nothing you're going to do about it. I said, you take that boat, you little turkey, and you're going to get the worst ass kicking you ever had. Well, I'm taking the damn boat, and there's nothing. By the time it came to shoot the scene, he had me so mad that we didn't really need to rehearse.
When McMurphy comes back on the ward after having had electroshock therapy, he pretends to be a robot, someone who's been terribly injured, you know, by this treatment. And all his buddies on the ward are terrified. I, of course, know all the time that he's faking. And he saunters over to his chair and he looks up at me and he says,
I'm proud to join the group, Mildred.
Weeks before, he had said to me, what's your first name? Because Nurse Ratched didn't have a first name. And I said, Mildred. He said, oh, that's perfect. Weeks go by, nobody ever mentions that at all, and he uses it. Well, if you look closely, you'll see that I'm turned red. I absolutely blush, as if I were that person. I'm embarrassed by the intimacy from this man who I secretly admire very much.
Next woman takes me on is gonna light up like a pinball machine and pay off in silver dollars.
One of my favorite moments is when I'm going home, the night they're going to have the party. And as I exit the little office, Jack's standing over by the camera and he says, "So, what did you accomplish today?" The look on my face is priceless.